first quarter GDP data, we are expecting a pretty solid growth of 5.0% year over year. That would basically imply quite a notable sequential pickup in terms of growth momentum, especially if you consider that the comparison base from last year is actually relatively high. And for the March activity data, we, as the market, we are expecting the key economic activity indicators to slow in a little bit in terms of year-over-year terms, partly because of a high base. So for industrial production, we are expecting 6.7% year-over-year growth. Fixed asset investment, we're expecting 3.8% year-to-date growth. Retail sales, we're expecting 5.0%. So, relative to the market consensus, I think we are probably more positive in terms of industrial production and retail sales, but we have a lower forecast for fixed asset investment.
Miao, I'm just wondering, in terms of China's economy for this year, obviously, as you said, those numbers that you've put out there are a bit higher than those Reuters poll numbers, for example. But where do you think the growth is really going to come from? Is it from that manufacturing base, and is it from exports?
I think at the moment, indeed, the property sector probably remains quite a notable drag to the economy. But, from the Jan and Feb data, we did see some green shoots in the data. I guess, for example, if you look at investment, manufacturing industry is doing very well. And, the government is putting more resources to support infrastructure investment as well. And we think that, in terms of consumption, although, the overall consumer confidence is probably still at a low level, but, services consumption is obviously doing very well. And we expect that to, remain a very key driver for China's consumption growth this year. And, even if you look at external demand, I think, export probably are doing better than what many people would have, expect, late last year. I know that the March data probably was a little bit disappointing, but if you combine, with the very strong January and February data together with the March data, for the first quarter of the year, you still get a mild positive growth of exports, right? So that's, after 5 consecutive quarters of year-over-year contraction in total export. So I would say that, on the export side, we'll probably also see a little bit more improvement as well. So, hopefully, with the government's support on, manufacturing, investment, and even some of the recent measures on, equipment renewal or, consumer goods trading, we will hopefully see more signs of improvement in the coming months.